Good evening and welcome APWU family, guests, and friends. Thank you so much for joining APWU's live stream so that you can hear us talk about Workers' Memorial Day and the kickoff for our new campaign, Toxic Workplace, and in short staffing so that we can deliver for our communities. But before we get started, let's go over our code of conduct. Stephen, if you would, please.
Participants to embrace our values of equity and equality and conduct themselves in this meeting consistent with those values. There is a designee as the first point of contact for anyone who thinks they may have experienced discriminatory, harassing, or otherwise unacceptable behavior. We urge you to contact the designee if you have any concerns. Please note that the Code of Conduct applies to all meetings the APWU hosts, including meeting or calls held via Zoom or with other software such as this, and includes both discussions and chat. The meeting designee for this evening's live stream is Madeline Griffith. Her phone number is 202-431-5781. Back to you, Ms. Powell.
Thank you, Stephen. People are still logging in, so we're going to give them a few minutes. But while you're logging in, let me give you a shout out. Put in your local number and let me see who's really out there. Well, we can get started. I do see Arlene McDuffie, Mount Vernon area local. Hey, hey, hey. Thank you for joining us. Linda Terry, Mid-Hudson area local. Wow, keep logging in. People keep throwing those names in there. Jonathan Lewis says hello, hello. All righty now. I love it when everybody just be on time and log in. Courtney Agee, one of our young members from Birmingham, Alabama. Hello, Courtney. Thanks for joining. I'm going to be on the other end of this at some point, see how it feels when somebody calls out my name. Do I jump up and down and shout and say, hey, they saw me? Peggy Whitney, president of Minneapolis area local. Thanks, Peggy, for coming in. Should be an enjoyable evening. All righty, keep those names coming. Keep those local numbers coming. Local number 419. 419. Welcome. Thank you for coming. That's great. It's awesome to see our union family here from all over the country. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. But let's get started as we don't have much time. Hello from 44057, Tracy. Good evening, Tracy. How are you? We have our very own National Union President this evening with us. You all know him, President Mark Demonstein. And along with him, we have our Director of Industrial Relations, Charlie Cash. They're both going to go over some very important subjects with you this evening. We're looking forward to April the 28th. I was about to say August the 28th, which means we would have had our day of action plus a few more and still going. But April the 28th is that magic day when the APWU and its membership stands in front of every post office, hopefully throughout, saying we've had enough. At some point, enough is enough, and we have reached that point. They both will talk to you this evening and explain that to you. While we're waiting to get started, I see the president of New York Metro, Jonathan Smith, has joined us this afternoon. So hello, John. Kate Stewart. Someone named Blessed from Hawaii. Hopefully Blessed from Hawaii, we're all blessed. But while we're waiting for that and before we get started with Mark and Charlie, let me give you all a poll so you'll have something to think about while we're going through our session this evening. If you are a postal worker, I want to know, how has short staffing and toxic work environments negatively impacted your ability to get the mail out to your communities? Has toxic workplaces or short staffing negatively impacted your ability to do your job? Text yes or no to 91990. That's yes or no to 91990 crew. And I see a lot of folks tuned into the live stream. Toxic workplaces and short staffing are issues that we feel from coast to coast. And it's all over. I don't know how you all feel, but we feel with you. It's crazy stuff that goes on in the post office every day. It is something I said earlier. Enough is enough. You see the signs behind President Dempsey. You see the signs behind DIR Charlie Cash. APWU postal workers deserve dignity and respect. It's time that we speak up together. We've heard from our members that toxic workplaces is making it harder to get the mail out. Our Workers' Memorial Day this Friday. Postal workers around the country are speaking up against workplace harassment by wearing a sticker, filling out the survey, or joining a rally with their coworkers. And that's why we're all here tonight. We got a great lineup, and we're going to start off with that man who always has his ear to the ground. I don't mean literally, but he has his ear to the ground. And that's none other than our president, Mark Demestein, president of the American Postal Workers Union, AFL-CIO. Take it away, Mark.
Thank you, Sister Powell. Greetings, APW family. So glad you joined us tonight for this serious day of action we're having this Friday on Workers' Memorial Day. Just a quick background on Workers' Memorial Day. It's a day identified by the AFL-CIO on the anniversary of the OSHA Act, Occupational Safety and Health. Okay? And it's a day to bring attention to the problems that so many workers face in terms of unsafe working conditions, because corporate greed always leads to unsafe working conditions if we're not strong enough, unionized, union strong, and strong as working people to fight back and get the kind of respect and dignity we all deserve. So this is an excellent day to identify what's going on in a workplace, but also recognize all of the hazards and the unsafe working conditions that so many of our brothers and sisters, so many people and siblings, comrades, whatever we want to call ourselves, face in the working class in general. And just a quick example, think about what the railroad workers have been up against in their struggle last year to get new contracts. And their struggle was really based on the need for safe working conditions. They have no paid sick leave. You have to come to work sick. If you don't come to work, you get fired. Not enough staffing on the trains, trains that are too long and then jeopardize our communities. So you just saw what happened in East Palestine, Ohio, where the whole community was devastated by a derailment made toxic maybe for generations to come based on the corporate greed that they wanted those trains to move without enough workers. So when we fight for workplace safety, we're often fighting for the safety of the people of our communities as well. So we're facing, as all of you know, and that's why you're here tonight, and it's such a deep problem that's plaguing us and getting worse. And that's the toxic and hostile work environment that management inflicts on postal workers throughout the country. And we're going to talk about our plan to end it. For far too long, Postal Service leadership has failed to promote and implement a healthy workplace environment. The culture of bullying and toxic work environments from the managers has created a hostile work environment that makes every worker's lives miserable, hurts everyone's morale, and forces bullied workers out of the service. This culture is made all the worse by the epidemic of understaffed postal workplaces. And the lack of staffing is taking a heavy toll on our health and safety, on the workplace environment, and our service to the people of this country. Furthermore, toxic workplaces hurt, as I said, hurt the service to the people. So we're kicking off our campaign this Friday, Workers' Memorial Day, to demand that Postal Service management finally implement a true zero tolerance policy when it comes for bad managers. And we need action, and we need it now. First, we demanded that national postal management must stop turning a blind eye in relation to these hostile managers. Too often, the Postal Service just moves hostile managers around from one facility to the next, shifting the problem. What we call in the workplace that shuffle. Rather than solving it, they just move it around. That has to stop. It's time to hire enough people to carry out our mission and for us to be able to do it as postal workers in an environment of respect and dignity. There are vast areas of postal employment that are still understaffed, and understaffing creates that pressure cooker environment that only makes the hostile environment worse. And management must change this culture of confrontation and bullying to one of respect and dignity for the workers that proudly move the mail and carry it out our mission. We postal workers, all workers, including we postal workers, deserve dignity and respect. This new campaign is the fight for a new beginning. Friday is not an end. It's a beginning. It's a new fight, a stronger fight. We've tried everything we know, and it's time to take it to the streets, take it to the workroom floor. This is building to a future with a strong foundation with safety in our workplaces and dignity and respect for all postal workers. Postal workers and our communities deserve nothing less than this. We can only do this together. We can only do it together. And those of you who have joined us tonight, make sure you talk to your coworkers about the importance of this fight back and that we can only win it together. As Sister Powell said, enough is enough. And we want to know, will you commit to taking action this Friday on Workers' Memorial Day? And if you do, text RESPECT in caps, RESPECT, respect in caps, to 91990 to commit to taking action with all of us together, standing tall, standing proud, and getting the kind of working conditions that we all earned, we all deserve, and we're going to see this through until we get the change that we need. Sister Powell, back to you. We're having a problem.
Sister Powell and Brother Mark, can you unmute yourselves?
That might help, right? Does that mean I have to start all over, APWU family? I guess that's exactly what it means. It's like Murphy's Law. Whatever will go wrong, will go wrong. But I don't know how many of you were good at hearing what I said when you couldn't even hear me because I couldn't hear myself. But recognizing some more of our members and our activists who have put their name in the comment box. Tracy Blakely, President in California. Steve Woods, my good friend from 480-481. I want you all to keep putting your comments and your questions because when we finish with all of this, we're going to end up with the Q&A from everybody. So if you haven't put your question in the comment box, please do. Prior to Director of Industrial Relations, Charlie Cash, after he finishes, we're going to hear from Local President Kim Miller from Keystone Area Local, who's going to share her members' experiences and tell us why they're joining with us on Friday the 28th in this one day of action. So we got a long way to go this evening. Keep those names coming in the comments, keep those questions coming, and we'll get back to you before we end up. Directed DIR, Charlie Cash, take it away. This gives me a chance to get back at him. Charlie, can you take yourself off of mute?
Well, yeah, thank you so much for that. That was rather good. But I was just thanking you for the great introduction, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate being here with everybody tonight and with being here with our union family and our union siblings out there who are all facing this challenging environment. This toxic work environment it's one of the biggest issues that we face today. Every conference I've gone to, people I talk to individually, they tell me that the hostile work environment is something that needs to be addressed and is something that affects everybody day to day, whether it's an individual supervisor treating one person bad or if it's a group of supervisors treating everybody bad. I can tell you that hostility in the Postal Service is something that's been going on for a very long time. But as we've reached out across the country and we have talked to various local officers and very local members, what I continually to hear and what I hear from people telling me that this is the worst it has ever been. And these are people who have been in the post office for 25 or 30 years or even longer who are telling me that the environment is terrible. Under this collective bargaining agreement, we were able to negotiate an MOU that we were to meet with the Postal Service headquarters people to deal with the hostile work environment. Unfortunately, we found from day one in our first meeting that the people at the Postal Service headquarters did not have a true interest in fixing this problem. We found out that they told us that they believed that the hostile work environment was your fault. It was your fault because you wanted the contract enforced. It was your fault because you were filing grievances when management was doing things that were not proper, when management was treating you poorly, when management wasn't following the OTDL. It was your fault that the workplace is hostile. That is just a load of garbage. We all know that. And so as we've gone through this and we've demanded from management at the highest levels help and for them to take action, it was clear they weren't going to do it. And so now we need to do it. We need to get out there. We need to be willing to fight for our rights. We need to be able to be willing to fight the supervision and management and take it to the streets. And starting on Workers' Memorial Day, we are kicking off that campaign and that battle in the streets. So as we look at Workers' Memorial Day, just as a brief history, was a day for that the labor industry, the labor movement, dedicated to a remembrance of safety. Yes, as Mark said, it is the date that the OSHA Act was signed. But on this date, we remember all of those who lost their lives by going to work. They went to work just to earn money and to earn a living, and they lost their lives. It's also a day for us to remember and rededicate ourselves to safety. So we chose April 28th as a good kickoff date for this campaign because a hostile work environment is an unsafe environment. It does create safety and health problems. It does damage the safety relationship at work. So we're asking and trying to tell the Postal Service on this day, enough is enough. Postal workers deserve dignity and respect. Postal workers need the harassment to stop. So as part of this campaign, we're asking everybody to do a few simple things. First of all, I don't know if all of you can see this, and I'm just going to hold it's just a little envelope. It's nothing spectacular, but this is an envelope that is being mailed to every APWU member. And inside of this envelope, there are a few things. I got mine today. I was excited to get it. They were supposed to be started delivering this week. So you may not have yours yet, but they should be coming to you. Inside the envelope is a survey. We have a committee of members and presidents from the field who wanted to find out where exactly all of our biggest issues are and what the biggest hostile work environment issues, harassment issues that are facing. So together we developed this survey, and we're asking every single one of you to complete the survey. In the envelope, there's a paper survey and a postage paid envelope that you can send us the survey back. Or on the survey, there is a QR code that you can scan and go in and fill the survey out yourself online. And hey, great news already. We've already got a great start. My office has already started receiving paper surveys. We received them today and have started entering them. And we also have hundreds of responses already online. So it is great, and great to see that Maltrice there, forgive me if I pronounced your name wrong, she said that she has received hers. I'm hoping everybody starts receiving them, and I hope everybody completes the survey. We can take that data and we can use that data, whether it be in negotiations to say, hey, management, our employees, 95 or 98 or 99 or 100% of our employees say this is terrible. The environment's terrible. We can maybe use it as we go to the public and say, this is what our postal employees are telling us, and this is what we're being told and how we're being treated. So please complete that survey. And if you have a chance on Workers' Memorial Day, ask your coworkers if they've completed the survey. And look, I believe that if they're treating the clerks, maintenance and motor vehicle and support services people terribly, they're probably treating the letter carriers, the rural letter carriers, and the mail handlers terrible too. So Ask them to complete the survey. I don't care who completes the survey, as long as we can get good data, because we want them out. We want them out there. And thanks, Tracy Blakely, for saying that you'll fill yours out and that you'll encourage others to fill theirs out too. I really greatly appreciate that. The other thing that's going to be in that envelope that I hope everybody will do is there's going to be 3 stickers in there. 2 of them are on my back screen, the dignity and respect and the speak up ones. And we also have this stop workplace harassment sticker. There's these 3 stickers. It's a simple action to do. Wear a sticker that day. Show management that we are united in this and that we're going to work together on this. And you know what? Pick a sticker and wear it. And then take your other 2 and maybe give them to somebody else to wear it. And again, if you get a letter carrier, you get a mail handler to wear it, that's great, because whether we're the same union or not, we are all in this together. And thank you, FD Francis, for saying that you have yours, and you'll definitely ask others to wear theirs as well. So wear that sticker, take it out, put them on, let management see that you have them on. And you know what? It's probably going to irritate management that you're wearing those stickers, but they have no right to ask you to take it off. You can wear it in the workplace. Of course, if you work the window and you are a uniformed employee, you're technically not supposed to wear the stickers. I'm not going to encourage anybody to get in trouble by wearing a sticker, but we do have wristbands that have been sent out to the local that do say postal workers deserve dignity and respect. Ask your stewards or your officers for one of those wristbands so that you can wear it. I did have one on, but unfortunately in my travels, I left it in a hotel room, and I'm extremely disappointed by that, and I didn't have any extras with me. And so we're working on, we want to make sure everybody has the stickers, the wristbands, and I also saw a comment on T-shirts. I'll tell you, we are working on T-shirts. Those are coming along, maybe not in time for April 28th, but this is the kickoff. This is the start date. And so we're working on more things, and we're working on other things. And we also want you to do another thing on that day. Share your actions on social media that day. Take a picture, post it on social media, send it to us, tweet it out to the APWU Twitter page. Whatever you can, send that in there. Let us see it. Let us know that you're a part of it. We want to see your pictures. We want to see that it's going on. And we are asking you to take action for better postal service and a better toxic work environment. So once again, I'm asking you to commit to taking action on Workers' Memorial Day and text that respect to 91990. And of course, the other thing that we're also doing that day is we're going to the streets. We're going to the public. And we're going to tell the public that there's a problem in the Postal Service. And as you know, and as many of you have already said in the chat and in the comments, that you are short-staffed. You don't have enough employees. They haven't replaced a person. And many of you have also said when you're short-handed that things start rolling downhill. Crap rolls downhill, as you know by that term. Management gets pressured. They put more pressure on you. They start trying to use demeaning tactics. They call you names. They get other people to demean you and demand more work of you and just make the work environment difficult and hostile. So as part of our day of action, we're asking locals and people to take it to the streets, whether it's a large rally, whether it's a small press conference. We're asking people to get out there and tell the American public that we are short-staffed, and your short staffing is leading to the mail not getting delivered, to long lines at the post office, and because of all those things, you are feeling inordinate amount of stress, hostile work environment, and that you need help, and that we need to address this, and the public can help us address the hostility and the toxic working environment by demanding that the Postal Service bring our post offices back up to the staff that they should be, hire more people, and make sure that with the more people that we can get the mail delivered and we can get the service that our people and the American people deserve. And with that, I'm actually going to introduce a member of our committee and a local president who is holding a rally. And I'm going to have her explain to us why she's doing it and what their rally is, just so that you get some ideas of what's going on out there. With that, I'd like to turn it over to my good friend and good union member, local president of the Keystone Area Local and Hostile Work Environment Committee member, Kim Miller.
Thank you, Charlie. Hello, everybody, brothers, sisters, siblings. Very excited to be a part of this. Here in Harrisburg, we've been dealing with a lot of stressful conditions. Short staffing, yes, we've all suffered. I believe it puts a burden on us as well as the customers. Long lines, windows closing early, lost revenue. This is what's happening in Harrisburg, and we need a day of action. We've joined forces in the state of Pennsylvania, and we'll be participating in the Philadelphia PNDC, located on 7500 Lindbergh Boulevard in Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, we've had a lot of violence there, where some of our clerks have been pistol whipped, where the employees had their cars vandalized while they're inside doing what they need to do and working. So we picked that location because that seems to be a very problematic for the state of Pennsylvania. So we're asking everybody to get together to do something, stand up. I mean, now's the time. We need to stand up and do something. Enough of complaints. This is a day of action. We should all be doing something to participate. A lot of things, missed breaks, forced to work alone on the DBCSs. All of this is unsafe work conditions, which really put it that stressful for our employees. And we come home and we're stressed, management stress. And it seems that all they do is just transfer the problems. We have a plant manager who goes to Ohio, then he goes to Tennessee, or we got a supervisor we send to Lancaster, or we send somewhere else. I don't want to throw names out, but we send a lot of our problems and we don't fix the problems. 1767s, it's one of the most powerful tools that the APWU has. I'm reading some of the complaints, supervisors saying there that this is not the form to use to report unsafe work conditions. A 1767 is the correct form. So if you give them one and they say it's not, then you give them two, then you give them three, and then you file the grievance to Article 14. Very excited to be a part of this. We will be in Philadelphia, so if anybody's free and wants to come to Philadelphia, we're going to be there from 10 to 12 o'clock on Friday. Thank you, Charlie. Any questions?
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate that so much. And back to you, Liz.
Thanks, Kim. We can't wait to see what your local does on that day, and I'm sure you're going to share some great pics with us. Before we go any further, let me give a shout out to a young lady named Karen Lee, Canadian Postal Workers Union, who happens to be joining us in our live stream. And Karen says, we'd be surprised. They're going through exactly the same thing that we are. But we all know we're union strong all day long. They can dish it out, we can take it, but we've had enough. We've had more than enough. Time to stand up. Time to stand up and get, what was that prayer said? RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. We're looking forward to it on April the 28th. The poll numbers, hopefully you're coming in and you're answering the polls. I've been checking to see if we had any questions in the comments. So far, I don't have any questions, but I see a lot of people that I guess what happens if you see people you know and you don't call their name? Do they beat you up the next day? Then that would be called workplace violence, right? But let me recognize a couple of offers. We do have Southern Region Coordinator Tiffany Foster and Yari Wandu who have joined us. Whenever a call goes out for you all to be a part of this program, we expect for them to be part of the program too. It goes with the territory. So thank you, officers, for getting on here. Our retiree director, Nancy Alumakar, the retirees paved the road for us, went through more of what we're going through today, but they faced the same thing. Back in those days, they were demanding dignity and respect. They say what goes around comes around. Nothing has changed. But we're going to see if we can put a stop to this under the direction of President Demosthenes. And we're going to be out there. We're going to show up, people. You got to show up on April the 28th. Not just talk about it. You got to do something about it. So let's see where we are here at this point in our program. I'm still looking for questions. Maybe we should check our poll results, see where we've had that. I don't know how much time we got. It looks like it's 7:30, so I think we got plenty of time to get those questions in. But once again, hopefully you took an opportunity to vote. Let's go back to that poll and see what that poll is saying. The question was, has short staffing and toxic work environment negatively impacted your ability to do your job? Hopefully you texted yes or no to 91990, yes or no to 91990. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. We're going to come back. We're going to see what those results have to say. And President Demestein, we got a couple of minutes. If you want to add something to what we've all said, please take the opportunity to do so, and we'll give them a couple of more minutes to vote in that poll.
Thanks, Sister Powell. I think we had some questions in advance that maybe we could get to some of those. And
Okay. Stephen?
Our first question came from Rob in Ohio. He asked, how can I be more effective in trying to help the hostile work, in trying to help fight the hostile work environment that management at our facility promotes? That's from Rob from Ohio. And I'd also, before you answer that, I'd encourage folks, if you've got questions, drop them in the chat now. We've got a few that folks submitted in advance of the show, but we would love to take your questions live. So drop those in the chat as your union leaders answer that first question from Rob. Take it away.
Charlie, you want to take a shot at
Sure,
that?
I'll absolutely look into that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks for the question. First of all, I just want to say this: how can you be more effective in trying to help the hostile work environment? Is first of all, we all need to realize that this is a group problem. This is not a problem for just one person. This is not the problem of the person who's being harassed, because once again, I think I said earlier, if they're harassing you, they're harassing other people. One of the biggest things that I sometimes see is that we're not speaking up together, and we need to speak up together. We need to be willing to write statements for other people. We need to be willing to file grievances, even if it's for another person. If you saw somebody else get harassed, file a grievance, because you shouldn't be subjected to that. I recommend the use of the PS Form 1767, the report of a hazard or an unsafe work practice or condition at the office. Submit those. But again, this is something that has to be done together. Well, just a quick example. We had a situation in one facility where a supervisor posted on a threat to a bargaining unit employee on social media. It was deleted pretty quickly, but other people had seen it. They screenshotted it, wrote statements for that person, and we were able to get that supervisor disciplined because everybody stood up and worked together. And that's what we need to do, is we need to be united, and we need to recognize that the term "an injury to one is an injury to all" is truly something we need to live by and not just a slogan.
All right, before we go to our next question, let me give you the results from the poll. Not surprisingly, 98% yes. That's an awful number. 98% yes. Shows why we need to take action now. Shows that the time is now for us to fight back. It shows that we've had enough. Thank each of you for participating in the poll. 98% President Demestein, DIR, Cash, 98% yes. To the question, has short staffing and toxic management practice impacted your work? Stephen, you want to do the next one?
Happy to, Secretary Treasurer Powell. Thanks very much. The next question came from Jamila in Nevada. She's got a really concrete question. You all mentioned the survey that we've mailed out to folks. She wants to know, how long do we have to fill out the survey? How long after the 28th will we be accepting the survey?
Thanks, Jamila. I appreciate that. I'm actually planning on leaving the survey is open now for people to complete it online. And of course, with the mail, if you only mail it on April 28th, we don't know how long it's going to get here. I plan on leaving the online survey up at least until May 15th, if not longer, to give us time to make sure that we get everything and get as many survey back as we can. But I would love to see as many people get it done this week and on April 28th so that we can start calculating and crunching the numbers that we get. But for sure, it will be open through at least May 15th at this point.
And Charlie, if I can add, to take the opportunity, it's also a good time on the 28th, a little before, somewhat after, to talk to your coworkers about filling out the survey. Hey, I filled out mine. Did you fill out yours? We're in this union together. This is our chance to speak up, try to make a positive change to this terrible problem that we face as workers day in and day out. So we encourage all of you on this live stream to also not just fill out your own survey, that's the first step, but encourage your coworkers to participate. And they can do it on paper, they can do it online, and there's no reason to not have the members' voices be heard. But to be heard, they got to be willing to speak. So speak, and we'll certainly leave it open to have all of the surveys back so we can get all that information that's so needed to tackle this problem.
Stephen, next question.
Sure. Thanks, Liz. The next one comes from Tracy in West Virginia. She wants to know, is it the view of the union that a hostile workplace makes it an unsafe environment for employees? If so, do we use Article 2 to address these situations?
Well, thank you for that question. I appreciate that. Now, first of all, it is absolutely the union stance that a hostile workplace makes it an unsafe environment for postal employees. Article 14 talks about safety and health. A hostile work environment actually creates an unhealthy issue, whether it be mental stress, whether it be, anxiety, depression, whatever comes from it. So yes, it is absolutely unsafe work environment for employees. As a matter of fact, I had a meeting with the OSHA outreach group today to discuss the safety program at the Postal Service in conjunction with the other postal unions, and to talk about the culture at the Postal Service. And this was something we focused on for a little bit in the meeting today. And even OSHA recognizes that hostility at work can lead to workplace violence, and those are both safety issues that OSHA is willing to address to an extent under their general standard clauses. So if you're going to file a grievance, I recommend that you file it under Article 14 because that's your best one. Article 2, of course, is referring to discrimination and harassment and the things that can meet the definition of harassment. You can absolutely cite Article 2, but your best article when you're talking about a hostile workplace should be that Article 14 language that says management is obligated to provide a safe and healthy environment. Even though they seem to think hostility and toxicity isn't safety and health, we believe it is. And arbitrators out there for all crafts are starting to rule on this and starting to say management has an obligation to end the hostility in the workplace.
Thank you, Charlie. Any more early questions, Stephen?
I got one more, Ms. Powell. This one came from Sam in New Mexico. He asked, how will the union ensure that management is held accountable when management picks and chooses what to enforce?
Yeah, I'll take a shot at that, Charlie, first. And Sam, I really do appreciate the question. So I think the starting point to that question would be that the union is all of us. So the way we ensure, the union will ensure that management is held accountable goes back to, I think, what Brother Cash raised earlier. We have to do this together. We have to write statements for each other. Not only do we want people to fill out 1767s individually, you can fill them out collectively. They're there. You can do it on the clock. You can do it every day if you're not getting satisfaction and the concerns addressed. But you don't have to do it alone. You can do it with 50 people. You can do it with 100 people. You can do it with 200 people. You can do it with 4 people. So part of what the union can do to ensure is to encourage our members to act as a union together, not as spectators, asking you as activists or local officers or shop stewards or committee people or whatever, but and not be in the stands as spectators, but be on the field working together. The strength that we have as a team is together and working together to make the change. Now, does management pick and choose what to enforce? They always do. They have their favorites. They play games. They try to divide us. They try to divide PSEs from careers, careers from PSEs, part-time flexibles from full-time regulars, older, more seasoned senior people from younger from older. And so we have to not play that game where they pick and choose, because when they pick and choose what to enforce and who to play favorites on, they're trying to divide us. And we will never solve this problem of a workplace that truly we can come in with full respect and dignity. And we're never going to solve that problem unless we do it together. So my main advice is we are all the union, and the more we participate together, the stronger this union will be to address these kind of questions. And we can deal with these things individually, Charlie gave an example a few minutes ago, but we call it whack-a-mole. We got an abusive supervisor there. We finally get the goods, years of harassment. We knock it down. We whack-a-mole. We get rid of that supervisor, that abusive supervisor, but we haven't solved the problem. And for the union to solve this problem and to keep management from playing these games, we just got to stand together. We got to stand strong. We got to educate each other that while I may not be harassed today when that PSC over there is or somebody else is, if I don't take a stand together, I'm going to be the brunt of that on some other day. And so that's all I got. I'll turn it back to Charlie to finish that one off if he has any more to add.
Thanks. No, I appreciate that too. And I will just say this, Sam, again, this unfortunately is it's going to come down to us filing grievances, filing possibly EEOs, where we've got to make sure that is the process that we have. They do pick and choose. They pick and choose whether it's just contract or whether it's their handbooks and manuals. But we got to keep filing grievances. I will just say this, that one of the first things that management asks me when I'm in a meeting or I bring up an attention to them and say, hey, this place is having a problem. They say, well, no one's reported it. There's no EEOs. There's no grievances. There's no 1767. So there must not be a problem. So in order to hold people accountable, we need to develop a paper trail. We need a paper trail and statements and grievances and all of that. It can't be said enough that we have got to be willing to do this. All of us together have to be willing to do it. And this actually piggies back onto a question that I saw in the chat from Cindy Baker that says, are local unions being encouraged to file grievances on regarding this hostility? You absolutely are being encouraged to file grievances on this hostility. And you're being encouraged to file as many grievances as you need to, can, or whatever, because it is numbers of grievances and it's paper that people at headquarters unfortunately pay attention to. So I absolutely say again, that is the process that we need to go through. We go through the grievance process. We go into arbitration. Whatever we need to, we will do what we can to make sure that they stop picking and choosing. Although this union's been around for a long time, the picking and choosing has also been going on for a very long time.
And Charlie, if I can add one other thing, family. In addition to the important grievance procedure, don't be afraid of standing together. Got an abusive supervisor. It's not getting fixed. The 1767s are not solving the problem. March on the boss on lunchtime. Come in early and have 20 people. Go to that boss together and say, this crap has to stop. That is a powerful message that takes it away from the individual and brings it to the strength of the collective group. So don't be afraid of that. And you got these really abusive supervisors that just won't go away. Well, guess what? They live in a neighborhood. We got the big rat we can borrow from the building trades, Scabby the rat or whatever they call them. There's nothing that stops you from going into those neighborhoods on a Sunday morning and setting up a picket saying this man, the person that lives in this house is abusing the heck out of all of us. Now, I'm not saying that's a tactic for everybody or every moment, but in addition to the grievance procedure, Charlie's right, very important, giving us the paper trail, fighting back in that way. We have to find the collective ways to use our collective strength as workers to push back on these managers. And when they hear that, they don't mind the individual as much. You've all heard it. I'll go ahead and file your grievance. But when they have the united front and the united action of the workers, they're going to have to pay a different kind of attention to our demands and our action.
Thank you both. I'm busy looking at the comment box for more questions. I see a lot of statements, but we need some questions. I have 3 local presidents, though, that say they're ready to show up and show out. Haven't heard that one in a long time. Ready to show up and show out. Keith Richardson, Chicago. Miriam Bell, Charlotte, North Carolina. And Sherry McKnight, Baltimore, Stu Philby. Looking for RESPECT. I'm going to be like Mark. I ain't going to sing no more. Might shut down the live stream. We have a couple of more minutes. So get your question. If you have one, get it here. Not just a statement, but we need a question that can be answered this evening. 98% of you out there say you got a problem, should have a question to go with that 98%. So a couple more minutes, and then we'll be ready to go line up and make those signs, put on those stickers, fill out those surveys, and do everything that we have to do. While we're waiting for the couple more minutes, prayers, here's one statement, and you might want to comment on this one so there can be no misunderstanding. One young lady on here wanted to know what happened with our no layoff clause and why did we stop it?
Well, we do have no layoff protections. I'm not sure where that's coming from. We have Article 6 in our contract, been there for generations. We protected it even when management wanted to do away with it, such as in 2015. We also, in this contract, as we have had in others, in our most recent contract, we protected everybody who was a career employee on the rolls as of the signing of the contract, which was September 21st, 2021. So even if someone did not have the 6 years at that point, they're protected for the life of the contract. Now, the no layoff clause has always applied to the career workforce, not the non-career workforce. So we know our non-career members are more vulnerable. That's something we're going to work on in the future. But the no layoff provisions have not been diminished at all. And in fact, in the last contract, as with many previous contracts, it was enhanced by including everybody, again, who was on the rolls when the contract was signed. So rest assured, we have tremendous job security. What workers do we know in our lives, whether they're family members, whether they're friends, neighbors, people that we know in the community? What workers do we know that have this kind of job security? No layoff protections. You can't be moved in an involuntary way more than 50 miles. We have incredible job security. We're very proud of it, and we're going to keep it. And we have for generations now, and we plan to keep it for generations going forward. But I do appreciate the question, because these are things, if they're being floated around out there, that we very much have to clarify and be strong on.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark. And Liz, there's actually one question that I found that I wanted to read and real quick, and it says, "Do we have an official form to fill out when we are harassed by management?" You know, that's an interesting question, I thought, and that comes from, I believe, Wendy Miney. If I hopefully I pronounced that right. I don't know that I did, but that's a very good question. The post office has a form for everything, but ultimately, that's the one form we don't have. They don't have a form for you to officially report harassment on. They don't have a form for you to officially report hostility on. But this is something where you can write a statement, and I would do two things with a statement that you write or a report. It can be on anything. It can be on a 1767 even.
Right.
And write it on that form. Make sure you keep a copy for yourself. Give that copy to the union so that the union can follow up on it and make sure management gets it. Excuse me. When they get it, they are obligated to deal with it. Although we know that they are going to probably not follow through and they may bury it. But by keeping a copy of it and having it given it to the union, your union now has a better grievance right to say, you were notified and you did nothing about it. And therefore, you violated the contract and you violated this person's safety and health. No.
Thank you, Charlie. We have one last question before we turn it over to President Demosthenes and Director Cash to recap and wrap it up. Linda Terry from Mid-Hudson Area Local it's a two-part question. Will the retirees get a survey, and what can the retirees do to help?
Well, I know on the help part, certainly we urge all our dedicated and passionate retiree members who paved the way for us to join any rallies that are going on the 28th or around the 28th. So that's one way we can help. Charlie, you'll have to help me out on the survey. I believe the surveys did not go to the retirees because we're trying to get a picture of the workplace today in terms of the work environment. But Charlie, if I'm wrong in that, please correct me.
Yeah, I believe that is true. But I believe that again, if you get a copy of the survey, like say we're sending extra copies to the local officers. The local presidents will get extra copies, and they can do with those surveys as they please. They can give those, a retiree could get a copy of the survey from them. They could go online. They could go online and do it. They could mail it back in. I would recommend that in some notes, though, that you please note on there that you are a retiree, as we need to make sure that as we are collecting our data, that we can make sure that our statistical analysis is as accurate as possible.
Right. And to add to what Charlie just said, some of this data is going to be very helpful to the APW in our next round of bargaining, and that's not that far off when we try to deal with this issue. So everybody who's filling out a survey is actually helping get a better contract the next time we go into bargaining, specifically as it relates to the hostile work environment and the unsafe conditions that environment creates. So speak up. And we do welcome the retiree thought, but the analysis that we have to take to the bargaining table, we need a snapshot of what's happening today.
Yeah.
And a correction with that, that was Linda from Pennsylvania, not Linda from New York.
And real quick too, on the survey, anybody can go to it. It's apwu.org/survey, and you can access the survey online. apwu.org/survey.
We have Florida State President Joe Paul and the Tampa area local president Don Barron are having a rally, and a large rally according to them, and they're going to live stream. And anybody in the area, please join with them. They welcome all participants. Seeing that we have 8 minutes to go, Prez, I'll start with Charlie to give his ending remarks, and we will do as we always do, end up with the president.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Liz. I appreciate that. And thank you for the great job you've been done tonight, shepherding us along here tonight. And Union family, as we face these are challenging times. Our hostile work environment is one of our biggest challenges we face. No matter what the post office does, whether they put a new coat of paint on, whether they give you a new bathroom, whether they build you a new break room, no matter what they do, your job is not going to get any better if we still have the same horrible supervisors and they're not being held accountable. April 28th, wearing the stickers, taking the survey is our first steps. This is a kickoff. This will not be the last action we take, and hopefully this will not be the last thing you do locally or internally, but something that you can continue on. The APWU National is here to support and help all the locals with what they can do. We're asking each individual person who may be experiencing this stuff, go to your union, go to your representatives. We will help your representatives as well and help them in the grievance process, but we need you to go to them and stand up and do it. Let's do this together. Let's be united. We are a family. Solidarity is something that we should all believe in and understand that it means we are united. An injury to one truly is an injury to all. And I, for one, will stand with all of you to fight this hostile work environment for as long as I can and as long as I'm here in this position. So thank you, Brother Dimenstein, and thank you, Sister Pal. And Mark, over to you.
I think you just about said it all, Brother Cash. Look, union strong all day long. We got a serious problem. We know it's getting worse. We're going to stand together. Stop, we can't see it here. Stop workplace harassment. We got to speak up together, because that's the only way we can do it. And I think we all agree on this call and beyond that all workers and postal workers deserve respect and dignity. We're going to have to do it together. We're going to do it together, and enough is enough, and we're going to make the change. We're not going to point fingers. We got people saying, what's the national doing? We got other people saying, what's the locals doing? What the state's doing? It's going to take us all, and everybody needs to understand that our foundation, our strength starts with the members, and the more active the members are in defending their own working conditions, their own rights, their own respect and dignity, and standing together is the way we're going to once and for all change this whack-a-mole shuffle problem into a fundamental change where we can come to work to earn a living, feed our families, come to work and get the respect and dignity we deserve, and to continue to carry out the mission that we're so dedicated to, the wonderful mission of serving the people of this country in a way that we can do it with the dignity and respect we have earned. And think about this as a last note. You were all there as essential workers in a terrible pandemic, serving the people of this country every day. If there was any question about the kind of respect and dignity we have earned, there should be no doubt no doubt that we're not going to be called essential workers and then be treated like crap as expendable workers the next day. Essential workers, all workers, respect and dignity, health and safety in the workplace. Carry on all the great work, APW family. We'll be there together. We'll be there beyond that day together. This is a jumping off point, and we're not going to stop until we fix this problem and until we win. Solidarity forever, APW family. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great activity this week on Friday, and we'll carry it forward from there.
Thank you very much. Solidarity, everyone.
Stay safe, be well.